like you walk along with a dog. What's the first thing a young child does? They gravitate towards a dog, a horse. I mean, you have the equine therapy, the canine therapy. Everyone just gravitates towards animals, and they'll touch them, they'll hold them, and they'll have this connection, that immediate connection, where they want to tell them their deepest, darkest secrets. They hang on to them. They feel that initial bond. There's no judgment from animals. There's that the heart-soul connection immediately. And camels just have that. I mean, with more of these places, there will be less prisons. You can't just shove the kids away and young adults away and expect them to heal in a prison. There's no therapy in there. There's no rehabilitation. We want to provide that.
Yeah.
Whether you're a camel owner, wannabe camel owner, or simply an adoring camel fan, you're in the right place for some fun, useful, and interesting camel talk. This is the Camel Connection podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Tara.
And I'm Russell. Join us here for fun learning about camels, how to care for, train and handle them, plus insider stories and interviews.
And also some interesting stories of our lifestyle with camels, the good, the bad, the ugly and the very funny.
Make sure you've subscribed now so you don't miss out on an episode.
Now, some of these podcasts are an audio take of our video, so be sure to check those out on our blog for lots of how-to visuals and, of course, lots of camels.
This is your one and only go-to podcast, all about camels.
Welcome back to the Camel Connection podcast. Stick with us today. We have an inspiring interview for you. So, how can camels help the underprivileged in life? Do you know how camels can help the underprivileged? Well, that's exactly what we're going to hear about in this incredible and inspiring interview with Sally Millard and Father Bob Maguire. Now, for the past few years, we've been mentoring Sally and Mick, who own these camels. Stick with the story. So we've been mentoring them in their camel journey. They've actually been to multiple camel courses of ours and workshops, and you could just tell that they're dedicated camel people. They just adore and love their camels. It's very, very obvious. So Sally and Mick Millard, they found themselves in love with their camels after acquiring just 2 of them, which they didn't know at that time how much their life was about to drastically change. So now, at this present moment, they have 9 camels on their beautiful 220-acre property in the Pyrenees of Victoria, Australia, not too far from us, a couple hours. So in the plight of their struggling to start their own camel business, which you'll hear more of that in the interview, they actually just decided to donate their property, their time and their camels to the Father Bob Maguire Foundation to help the underprivileged get over the hump in life. Now, the best part is that when the foundation was contacted with this proposal, is how well it was received. It's funny because a lot of people go, camels, that's weird. And Father Bob's reply was, where do I sign? So considering he knew nothing about camels, it was an incredible response that Sally and Mick could have asked for, really. So Father Bob is actually well known for his outreach work in Melbourne, Australia, for the homeless and for those basically down on their luck. He's worked with criminals, addicts, the young and the old. So he's been around the traps for quite some time. So how can camels help the underprivileged? Well, that's exactly what you're going to hear in this inspiring interview with Sally Millard and Father Bob. So the Lourdes, not Lourdes, I keep saying it wrong, Lourdes Camel Sanctuary not only has an amazing story to the chosen name, but offers an incredible insight into camel therapy and how a little bit of space, a little bit of time away from the ordinary and a camel kiss can change someone's life. Stick with us.
Father Bob,
for people that don't know you, can you tell us what it is, who you are and what it is that you do?
I'm the parish priest, Roman Catholic, card-carrying Catholic priest. No sin, no crime, none of that. Oh, no. So I was up here, I was in the army for 4 years, and then I came up here to South Melbourne parish, and I stayed there from 73 till 2012.
Right.
And in the meantime, we tried to create a hub. So I wanted the church to be the hub for the neighbourhood.
Yep.
Lots of housing ministry. So we started feeding people, and also feeding people on site, and also we ended up buying 2 or 3 vans, and they go out feeding people around the traps. We take the tucker with us. We prepare it in a place we've got down the road, a warehouse. We cook the meals, and then we put out trestles,
Trestle tables,
and
yep.
tables.
Yeah.
So we're not throwing them pies from the van.
That's beautiful meals.
We sit down and talk. Hello, blah blah blah, because we believe
Eating with them.
that, and also that the accumulated wisdom of the housing ministry tenants, you see, which is not realised, because the elites don't like the idea that housing ministry people may well know more than they do.
Yeah.
See what I mean? That's the hidden treasure of being part of a mixed community here, where you've got the people over the road who pay $2 million for a terraced house.
Yeah.
We're all interconnected around here, but we don't belong.
Mm-hmm.
Interconnection is not belonging.
You're still lonely, huh?
Yeah.
See what I mean? So we're going to try to work on that. And I'm old. I could go any minute. I could be taken, couldn't I?
You could be, but you won't. You won't.
Well, you see, the job is in a work in progress, you see. So
Yes.
we've got the vans feeding people in 2 or 3 different parts of Port Melbourne, South Melbourne and St Kilda. When this is not addressing food poverty, we're addressing digital poverty. We believe, you see, that if we address digital poverty, people can leapfrog what they've missed out on in conventional education. And because we were thrown out of our parish, not for sin or crime, we were just thrown out because they thought we were spending too much time with the outsiders rather than the insiders.
Right.
So here we are down here in a rented premises in the middle of Albert Park, and we've been here since 2012.
12, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm old.
Could be.
How old are you, Bob?
85.
85 and still
I could be
kicking.
taken at any minute.
Still pulling.
Oh, you're so young.
We call ourselves Lourdes.
Yeah,
Camel
Lourdes,
Sanctuary.
because there's a joint in Europe, in the Pyrenees, and my ancestors in Glasgow, when they became upwardly socially immobile, they said what so many people do. You know this. Oh my God, we better put back. You see what I mean? They had a bit of a pang of their conscience. We've done all right. Now we should be doing something for others. And they said, oh God, what can we do? And they said, well, there's a joint in France called Lourdes, near the Pyrenees Mountains.
Yep.
And there's a spooky Roman Catholic thing there called the Lourdes Grotto. Hello. Where allegedly, according to the narrative, Mary appeared in the grotto, and there was a little village girl there called who? Bernadette Subaru. And the lady said, they had a conversation, and it led to the idea that if you go down to that spring of water, you will be cured.
To drink from it, you will.
Right.
Hello. That's the narrative. I'm not saying nothing.
So that was in Lourdes of the Pyrenees.
Lourdes of the Pyrenees, and the Maguires became bearers of people down to the baths.
They carried them down. Didn't
Thank
they?
you.
So we
So
believe
then
now that Lourdes of the Pyrenees up our way
Yeah, our
has
way.
the healing pastures
See what I mean?
rather than the healing
Yeah.
waters.
So they can go and pack a bloody camel
And be healed.
and be healed. Yeah, of social disability.
What I'm hearing here is just from this short time we've been together, just here on this video, is that, you know, people get so wrapped up in their lives in the city, so reliant on, so overstimulated that you're trying to close in that gap between that overstimulation and, you know, a wide open space, which many young children have never, ever seen. Such big space with limited housing. But that fresh perspective can give them a whole new possibilities when they look for them, you know.
Well, Father Bob also talks about being sad, mad and bad. The kids that are around here, they start off, they're being sad. So their life they're in it's shocking. So they feel sad. Then because they're in that rut, they get mad about being sad. And of course it leads to being bad. So you've just got to break that cycle, and we feel that's what we can do, and we're weak.
Absolutely.
The solution that the rich and powerful have is we can't waste time on these people anymore. So we'll build a bigger and better prison.
Yes. Yes, just put them in prison.
So we've actually known Sally for quite some time now, Sally and Mick, and you know, we've been a part of their camel journey, not all of it by all means, but certainly a part of it.
Sally, can you tell everybody who's listening how you start, just, you know, your brief story of how you got started with camels and how it evolved into what you're doing here today, sitting talking with us?
Sure. But first, we bought the property. We sold up in Waterloo in Beaufort about 2015. We bought a 220-acre property not far from that at Mount Lonark. I've always had horses. I had Clydesdales. I was a horse girl all my life and a local country girl. And bought this property and thought, gee, wouldn't mind some camels, you know. So I did a bit of a ring around and found somebody with camels, and they grew. I got these 2 young camels, and they grew, and my horse skills didn't really they weren't what I expected them to be. So they had nothing to do with camels really. The training was very, very different to what I knew. I tried all my horse skills, nothing worked. I thought, heck, I'm going to need some assistance. So I went back to the fellow who I got the camels from. That wasn't the answer. So I turned to you guys, found you guys, and the camel journey really began from there. I learned a lot. We started off doing the level 1 course, and we got more camels from that course, fell in love with a couple more camels, and then we went back, took hubby back, did a couple more courses, went right through, even did the professional business course with them, and which we thoroughly enjoyed. It was all very, very well received. We learned a lot. We started to try to get a camel business up and running. We were wanting to do camel education from the property and take the camels to schools who couldn't get to the property, and teach kids all about Australia and camels and how they were such an intricate part of our history with the pioneers and things, because camels are so misconstrued in the public eye. There's a lot of misconceptions, as you guys are well aware out there. Everyone you meet, the dirty, rotten, spitting, kicking things, you know, and it's the farthest from the truth that anyone could possibly imagine. They're extremely gentle, extremely kind and loving, and I believe they have something more to give. So we fought our local council to get our business up and running, and that never eventuated. We took 3 years, and it nearly sent us broke, mentally, financially, everything. And in the end, we had a couple of shardies one day, shall we say, hubby and I, and we sat back and we said, right, we either donate the place to ISIS as a terrorist training ground, or we can see if a charity wants it. And I went to bed thinking, there was a bit on Channel 9 about a guy who'd bought a block in Sydney, and he was destroying it environmentally, but then he claimed because he was a charity, he was above council restitution. He could do anything he wanted. And he couldn't be touched through council. But I said to hubby, gee, Mick, I wonder if we were a charity, if we could do something like that.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if Father Bob would like the place. So I woke up in the morning and Father Bob was still in my mind, and I sent Father Bob an email, and that very afternoon I got a phone call from this Robert James Esquire.
Yes.
And he's, oh, goodness me, yes, it is me. Where do I sign? How can we help? Let's be involved. And the journey started from there.
Yeah.
It's a completely different path. And we're doing the same thing, but now it's much more of a charity organisation, and we're going to give just so much more to the people who I think really deserve it.
That's amazing. So, Father Bob, when you got that email, was this something that was on your radar, that you were sort of wanting something like this?
Everything's on my radar.
You had the Beland block, didn't you?
I'm a squirrel.
You had that block at Bacchus Marshall Beland.
Oh, we used to have a place here up at, was it Beland?
Beland,
Yeah, it was. 120 acres or something. And it had huts on it and all kinds of things. And I wanted to buy it back again because they made me sell it to pay bills.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you know, we'll have another go. And they said, no, it's not for sale. And so one thing led to another, and lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, did not Sally Mick come out of the woodwork?
Quite serendipitous.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, my narrative, because I'm a Roman Catholic, my narrative would you could get very pious and say, well, it was God's will or something.
Yes.
And I'm a squirrel. You see?
Go out gathering your own nuts.
You've got to go and get the nuts yourself.
They don't come to you.
No, somebody said, no, people know you and they'll bring you. No, I said, they won't, darling. The squirrels go out and
gather
get
their own
nuts.
Yeah.
What I love about this story so far is that, you know, Father Bob, all the work that you've been doing has led to this moment, and Sally, all the work that you've been doing, all the training and all the camels, it all just collided to this collective moment.
Serendipity, darling, serendipity.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to explain for our listeners who, kudos to you and Mick, Sally, just for not giving up on this. We know. We're on the phone a few times about the trials and tribulations
that you guys. Just how tough it was. Yeah.
But in saying that, like, a lot of people will come up with an idea and it doesn't work, so they give up. But you just had this calm moment where you're like, hang on, there could be something more here. And then one thing fell into place after another, and then you are where you are now. So kudos to you guys for not. You knew there was something there. It's just that had to come out in a different way. So that's awesome.
You've just got to be open to it, Tara. You've really got to wait and sit back, and the universe will often provide. You just have to be open, ready to listen, see the cues that they send you, and to see this fella on TV that night, and to think what we did at that very time, that Father Bob was looking for a place in the country at that very time. Yeah. It was all just meant to be, really.
Yeah. Yes.
Really,
yeah.
100%.
We've just got so much to do with now, and we just want it all tomorrow, don't
yes,
we?
We do want it immediately. Because these poor buggers down here, they don't know what space is.
Yeah.
See, there's a bloody tram runs up and down outside the front door.
That's as far as they ever get. A lot of them never get out of their own suburbs. They wouldn't know that anywhere exists, let alone a place with camels.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And to touch a camel, a lot of people never get to experience that. And the kids we can reach now, I think it's a really worthwhile cause. If we can be a part of it and give to it, if we die broke, I mean, what's money? Yeah. Riches are so much more than financial gain in my book. If to see a kid come onto property who may be broken.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll try to show a way, and that's our intention. Now, how long are you got to hang on for? What are we going to do? Get that bloody shed? What else are we going to get?
We'll start with the
shed. Shed will do.
Don't get too far ahead.
I told Twitter over and over and over again. I said, look, Vincent de Paul had his supporters who helped him to get slaves out of the galleys. That was his job. He said, we've got to get these people out of rowing these bloody galleys for the rich. Yep. So that was Vincent. Who was the other one?
The Wilberforce.
Oh, Wilberforce, who was responsible for the abolition of slavery. And I said, well, that's what our lot, Mick and Sally, are the Wilberforce and the Vincent de Paul, because they're doing both. You see, they're trying to get kids, young people are enslaved by what? Anonymity, that they've got no sense of belonging. Mm-hmm. That's because of this big city living, you see.
Yeah.
It's not even a homelessness, it's a placelessness.
Yeah, placelessness, thank you. If they have a place that they can call home, poverty is being passed on.
Yeah.
And it develops
intergenerational.
It develops into trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's inherited trauma.
Yes.
You see what I mean? It does.
A lot of people assume these street people are scum of the earth, dumb. These people should be running corporate organisations. I mean, they can find your best drugs, your best hookers, your best everything, and all under the watchful eye of police officers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're smart, they're cunning, they're brilliant. There are a lot of brilliant
people. Just need that sort of thing, just given the opportunities to redirect into a much more positive thing for not only themselves, their families, but also the wider community.
Exactly. Yes. Break that cycle, Russ, like we were talking about before, the sad, mad, bad.
Going back to the sad, mad, bad and everything that has just been said about this poverty, like, that's happening within the city limits. Sally, how do you see camels helping in this way? You've got this beautiful property. How do you see camels helping these people?
Well, you know, and anyone who's in that sort of situation who's untrustworthy, they're broken. They don't like people to start with. They find people untrustworthy. Everyone they've ever come across can't be trusted. They're all out for them. You know, they all want something from them. Whereas, you know, if you walk along with a dog, what's the first thing a young child they gravitate towards? A dog, a horse. I mean, you have the equine therapy, the canine therapy. Everyone just gravitates towards animals, and they'll touch them, they'll hold them, and they'll have this connection, that immediate connection where they want to tell them their deepest, darkest secrets. They hang on to them. They feel that initial bond. There's no judgment from animals. There's the heart-soul connection immediately. And camels just have that. We had a group of mentally challenged people out the other day, and they're all in their 50s, and they stood back and, oh, these huge animals. And all the camels want to do is put their heads over the fence and touch them, you know. And eventually the kids stepped forward and put their hand out. And I said, just put your hands and let them come to you. And that initial sniff, that first velvet nose contact, and the smile, honest to God, the smile and the chuckles, the giggles. And it was just that fear, that it was just broken. Everything just came crashing down, all the barriers, everything. Yes. And they want to touch them, they want to hug them, they want to know all about them. It's just, and animals just have that. People can't have that initial connection. And then all of a sudden they look to you and go, well, you've got these animals, you can't be so bad. And then the conversation changes, and you talk about the camels, and it changes, it gets deeper, and it's just, it all starts that initial camel connection.
It's so interesting that, you know, like all this is, you know, you're relaying this, and it's absolutely 100% true. You know, I've seen it so many times. Were you aware that the camel in Rajasthan in India is the symbol of love?
No.
There you go. That's a fact.
That'll do.
There's another camel fact.
Yeah, another camel fact. Yeah,
I'm sure you've had millions.
He's getting very worldly in his camel knowledge. He loves going on radio now.
Well, there's another one here. I'll give you one more.
Yeah.
Right, the camel's pedestal or brisket, that hard thing that they sit on, that they lean on. With most camels, it's actually in the shape of a heart.
There you go. I didn't know that.
But he couldn't.
There you go, right underneath the camel, and have a look. Yeah,
look up,
brand, you know.
He's the best brand.
Isn't he?
Yeah, best brander.
That's right.
The heart. Yeah.
No.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Russell. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Next, you'll see a photo on Instagram of Sally taking a photo.
You know me too well. The things I expect social media. What's you got?
Yes.
Well, I can't really shut Father Bob under there.
No. Thank you.
This is great. So you want to help. So are you focusing on just the younger generation, or is it kind of everybody?
Everybody who's underprivileged, the whole community, even the domestic violence mothers. You know, we were talking about them the other day, because to get down via a tram, even city parking, you're looking at $50 to park anywhere. So if a single mum wants to go down to the beach or something with her 4 young kids, you just can't get on a tram with all that around you. It's just physically impossible. Then to go down there and buy lunches for kids and stuff, it's all just too hard. So if we can get them up to home, you know, feed them, treat them well, show them the place, and just let them relax. Give the kids something to do while the parents relax. Anything. We are open to anybody and anything. We will never turn anyone away. Hearts and gates are always open.
Yeah.
I really see the bigger picture here, because, you know, this is such a human thing as humans we tend to forget that when we take ourselves out of the ordinary, mundane, everyday life things and go and experience something new and unique, I just want to reiterate what you said before, Sally. It's like your barriers come down. You see a whole wide open world, and then of course you've got the camels on top of that, which, you know, they're your counsellors, they're your therapists, they're your mate that you can have a conversation to without even opening your mouth. So I think what you're doing is so very important, and more and more people need to know about this. And I think a lot of people listening will find this incredibly inspiring, because I know there's others listening who want to do a similar thing as well. And let's face it, there's always a need for camels and therapy.
Yeah, more of these places and less prisons. I mean, with more of these places, there will be less prisons. You can't just shove the kids away and young adults away and expect them to heal in a prison. There's no therapy in there. There's no rehabilitation. We want to provide that.
Yeah.
We want our place to heal, be the rehabilitation before we get to that point.
All right, I'll just pause there just in case if we want to edit this or not, just this part here. Are we able to talk a little bit about your experience in the prison?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So Sally, you've got some experience with this of the prison cycle, if you like, that people do often get themselves into. Do you want to talk a bit about what you do or what you've seen and all that sort of stuff? Yep.
I've been nursing in a local prison in up near Ararat for a couple of years in the hospital facility there, where you see the young kids come through. And sure, some have been in their generation. I mean, some have their fathers, their uncles, their grandfathers in prison, and it's just almost a rite of passage for them. It becomes ingrained that that's all they know is this bad, mad, sad cycle. And then there's some kids who come in who are genuinely in there that just got caught up in the wrong crowd at the wrong time, and they're terrified. They're absolutely terrified. They're in there for drugs, driving offences. It can be really sad and really frustrating to see these young kids come in, and it'll make them or break them, and it usually breaks them. I mean, there's no rehabilitation. I really don't care what people say. Within the justice system, there is no rehabilitation offered. There's no training courses in there. You go in there and you survive, and you fight for survival any way you can, and often it's not good. And the kids usually come out broken on the other side. And there's no facilities then afterwards. There's no aftercare counselling. There's no anything. Housing is difficult. Anything is difficult. I mean, for a kid then to go out with a criminal record, it's tagged them for the rest of their life, and it becomes their identity, and often they're frequent flyers after that. It's really sad, right? So we want to get to them before that stage.
Absolutely. The intervention of that sort of thing's critical. And just recently I had to do a police check to work in aged care in another aged care facility. And believe it or not, 30 years,
He's a criminal.
30 years on, 30 years on, yes, I'm a criminal because I forgot to renew my license once.
And that has followed you around. Yeah,
it's followed me. And now that's only a small, I don't even consider that, as anything really. I mean, I paid my $100 fine, but I've got a criminal record.
Now have a record. So imagine a child come out of prison and with a record who wants to go and better themselves. I mean, you try going to a job. What's the first few questions asked on any job criteria? Have you had a work cut injury? Have you got a criminal record?
That's right.
They're in your top 10 questions. And what young kid is going to go apply for a job and then expect a manager to look at them? It's almost they give up before they try. So I'm stuffed now, so I may as well continue on my cycle. And people expect it of them. It's almost that's what's expected. That's what they live up to. That's what they do. It's the same with the young Sudanese kids around here. They come over, they want a better life, but where do they get put? In the worst communities possible. So who do they mix with? The worst of the worst. So then who do the kids mix with? They'll fit in with anybody. And it's just peer pressure. They think, well, these kids have accepted me. No one else will. And of course, there might be the bad kids. And it's the little black fellas, they stick out, don't they, in amongst the white crowd? It's all really sad how people get portrayed in society. And that's where the camels are as well. They get misconstrued in society. So are these troubled kids. And that's where you've got that connection. Camels are misconstrued as being rotten, feral, dirty, cruel, everything rotten under the sun they can think of. And these kids have the same reputations to break down.
Yeah.
So they have that instant connection with them. It's almost they have a common ground to start with.
And that's actually a really critical point that you're making there, because the camel has this reputation as a biting, kicking, spitting, cantankerous animal. And these kids from society may have a similar sort of negative connotations towards how they're viewed. And yet the reality is they're both full of heart, full of love, and it just needs an opportunity of being able to be expressed.
Exactly right.
Perfect. What you guys are doing is amazing.
I have a question about what your immediate vision is. You've spoken a bit about some structural needs. So what's your immediate vision, where the, it's not Lourdes, how do you say it? Lourdes Camel Sanctuary, is that what it's called?
Father Bob's Lourdes Camel Sanctuary.
What is your immediate vision? What's needed now to get things kicked off? And what is your bigger vision?
Well, our immediate vision at the moment is, of course, the structural facilities there to get the kids through the gates. So we're looking at getting a shed that will be a camp kitchen. It'll have cooking facilities, cleaning facilities, ablution blocks, like the amenities, the showers, toilets, barbecue area. It'll have a big TV screen in there, so that'll be the communal hub of the whole facility. That'll be our eat, meet and greet point, where there'll be education sessions, cooking sessions, gathering sessions, and that'll be our main focus area. So shelter as well for the kids, anyone who comes. We can throw swags down on the ground in there and let them camp the night if they want to. But it'll be mainly day trips to start with, and then we'll grow from there to overnight stays. And we're looking at putting up an adventure playground up.
Yes, we are.
Doing a flying fox down our gullies, getting some little quad bikes so the kids can travel around the farm, putting up a little wildlife enclosure with some wallabies, turkeys, emus, peacocks, just more things for the kids to experience when they come out, as much as possible. We want to offer all sorts of, experiences, really. Yeah.
So just to give people some context, so Sally, you and your husband Mick, you bought this property, which we've been to, and it is absolutely stunning.
It's beautiful.
Like, if you want a sense of freedom and you can't get to the desert, that's the second best thing. And you have 9 camels because the babies just come as well. Is it right?
Eight and a quarter, haven't we, Father?
Yes.
8 and a quarter.
So this started as a business idea, and then, as you told the story, it ended up being focusing on a charitable kind of venture. So you've had the land, you've got the camels, and you're now needing infrastructure to start getting people out there for day trips so that they can have a break from the mundane. Am I right in saying all that?
And exactly connect back to themselves.
We believe in living simply to simply live. And right back to basics, right back to the bare essentials. Phones in the office, there'll be no electronic equipment. It'll just be campfires, stories, music, really heart, soul, basic stuff that kids just forget about in this sort of environment. They haven't got it. They're so caught up in technology and the lifestyle and the hustle and the bustle. Just stop. Hurry up and slow down.
Hurry up and slow down. I like that.
Get right back to basics. Just stop, feel, look, smell. Mother Nature at its best out there. Well,
absolutely. I mean, obviously, right at this moment, the environment and reconnection with the environment is such a big issue, and it's going to only increase as time goes on. And for the city kids who don't have those opportunities, here's an opportunity to get out and actually see the world from a much wider perspective, so that then they can make wise choices about what they're doing back in the city. Yeah, it's so good.
We're not going into it with rose-coloured glasses. We're not out there to save every child. But if we can save one, one child can be saved, then go out and then they bring the next 5 along and one more. And each time it's one more. And it's that word of mouth and that pyramid effect. One goes out into society, tells the other one, they tell 2, then 2 tell 4, 4 becomes 8 and such and such. It's just,
it's the starfish thing, isn't it? The beach and the starfish. And but also you'd be surprised, I think, even though something may not look like with the child from an education point of view, many years teaching way back when, a few lifetimes ago, but it's surprising that you think that you're not progressing, you can't see progress, and yet it might be decades later and you come across that same person and they've remembered something and it's taken it through their life.
Yes.
As a positive aspect of, their experience.
Yes. And see, we don't have children either. So this is our way of getting to the kids and the community. And we'll leave this to Father Bob's family. This will become his legacy, our legacy. So this will go on for generations to come. This property will always be utilised as this healing facility. It will continue on. For starters, the camels are going to outlive us all to start with. So hell yes.
I have
Lovely.
a question about, and I'm sure everyone's wondering. So you've got this property, and you've got like 8 camels, 9 now with the baby. What is going to be the focus here with the camels? Like, how are you going to like have a program with the camels specifically for the people that visit? Like, what's that vision for you there with the camels?
We'll have different programs for different.
But the first one is to one pat at a time.
That's right.
All we have to do, and I've told the algorithm says, you take 10 kids up a week, young people up a week. 10 by 52 is 500 and God knows what. You will have diverted 500 away from the dark side. And that's that simple. We know that. We know that from the past. And all you've got to do is put them in the van and the people mover. Up we go, 1 hour. The algorithm says that it will work. Care, communication, concern, common sense, and compassion.
That's the one.
That's the 6 C's. And you end up with, well, you won't end up with community. Oh, you will end up if you put the 6 of them together.
Yeah.
You forgot one though. You forgot camels.
Actually, there's a camel in there. A camel,
Yes.
The camel's the other 7.
Yes.
Great.
7.
Yeah. No, we're sweet. We're onto it.
Oh, we are. Like,
But you see, the thing with so many other things, you've got to bloody well get the show on the road.
Yeah.
And you see, once it's on the road anyway,
then we can start talking
well, you can get people on the bloody mainstream media. They might say, oh my God, maybe we should start reporting good things, not just bad things. You see what I mean?
So eventually we'll lead to sort of things like, for the moment, Tara, it'll just be come up, touch the camel, look at the camel, give the camel a carrot, and just do some really basic around brushing a camel, bushing a camel down. And eventually, if they want to come back, we may even do little treks up to the Pyrenees. There's a lookout up there, about 3 kilometres from the property.
Well, we could have an apparition. I could appear.
You could appear in the.
So I have a question about all the amazing information that you've been able to share with us here today. So what is it that you need today in order to get this off the ground? What do you need from the wider community? What are you looking for? Are you looking for sponsorship or, donations, or how could people help on a collective, and also, what you guys actually need right this minute?
Well, we're all over Twitter and Facebook now. We're on that ruddy Facebook. And what else are we on? We're on Instagram. But I suppose the easiest way really is we just need money. We need money to
buy that shed.
Yeah, we just need donations. Anything that anyone could help with. If any corporation would want to come on board and support us, it's just so hard. We own the property, we own the camels, we've got ourselves, we've donated as much as we can. Our pockets are pretty much empty. Father Bob's are empty. So we just need some donations. Really, if anyone wants to contact us through the Father Bob Maguire Foundation. Info at fatherbobs.com. Everyone types in Father Bob Maguire, Maguire.
Is it?
Yep.
No, I know my name.
At all, did you
No, but is that the website? Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Father Bob Maguire.
You have a website.
Yeah, we got a nice website.
You've got a nice website. You've seen it, haven't you?
Yeah.
Your face is all over it.
All over it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you're broke, isn't it? Because your face was your fortune.
Yeah. That's where I'm broke.
Yeah. I'm the same.
Anyway, onwards and upwards. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and I think you'll get some great media coverage as well, just doing what you're doing. And this is so important, and don't stop sharing the message that you're trying to share, because the moment you stop, it's all over.
Thank you for your support too, Russ and Tara, over all the years. I mean, from the very beginning, you guys have been so supportive of everything we've done. You've always been at the end of every teary phone call and every anger spat we've had. We're going to give up. You've urged us on to everything you've done. We really thank you, and thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we've seen a lot in what you can do, right from the word go.
Yeah.
Namaste. We see the same light in you.
Yeah, it's definitely evident when you really see someone with a passion, and for you and Mick, you definitely have that with your camels. There is absolutely no doubt about it. So that's why it's so important for you to keep sharing this message, and you'll get your shed, you'll get the quad bikes, you'll get the turkey, you'll get the pelican. Yeah. No, what was it? Peacock.
Peacock, a pelican. We'll get a pelican as well.
We'll take anything. We're a charity. We'll take anything. But no, that's why we're a good combination. The Father Bob Maguire Foundation, they have the access to all the people in need. We've got the camels and the property. I mean, it's a great combination.
Yeah.
It's a really
Absolutely.
appealing combination.
And we've got the Commonwealth.
We have got our Commonwealth, absolutely.
Yes.
There's no Commonwealth in our Commonwealth, it's
No.
Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just for those listening, what they're saying is Cobber Wealth.
Cobberwealth.
Cobber is spelled C-O-B-B-A.
Yeah,
E-R.
yeah, Cobberwealth.
And it means what?
Mate.
It means
Mate.
mate or friends.
Mate or friend. Yeah.
Good old
We have a lot of internationals listening to our podcast, and if you say mate, they're like, you want to
What's
mate someone?
Mate.
Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Friend.
Yes, cobber, friend, mate,
Yeah.
companion, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
we never leave our cobbers behind is our thing.
Obviously, the awareness is the key here. So, Sally, you already mentioned that you're on Instagram and Facebook. What is that they call it a handle? What is the name of those, that page? Like, what's the name of your Instagram and what's the name of your Facebook?
Father Bob's Lourdes Camel Sanctuary.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Father Bob's Lourdes Camel Sanctuary.
Yes.
And because like a lot of people just like to follow the journey, and you know, maybe there's people listening who think that once it's established they might be able to help, they might have some sort of qualifications and be fully vetted and be able to help in instances.
We'd be grateful for any sort of assistance, anything at all. We'd love to hear from anybody, Australia, overseas, absolutely. Come on board.
And then when we have our live streaming,
That's right. They can
by
come on
George,
board.
they
It'll be
can
even
be
easier.
virtual.
Yeah.
So we'll be virtually part of the
Of our
property.
Commonwealth, yeah.
Indeed. Thank you.
Okay, so I've looked up cobber,
Sally.
all right, and yes, it does mean friend, etc. But also, it's really quite interesting. The well-known Australian English word probably has its origins in Yiddish.
Yiddish.
Yeah, for comrade.
Mm.
It was
Wow.
first recorded in Australian English in the late 19th century, but came to have particular resonance during the First World War through
Yeah.
its use by Australian soldiers.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a font of information, Russell.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Google.
Oh. No. You're just a font of information, Russell. Edit that
Yeah.
out, Tara. Russell's
Yeah.
the font of information.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending
pleasure.
your time here with us. We
Absolutely.
can't wait to see this all unfold, and you know, we've got your back. I mean, we're a few hours apart from each other, but you know, we definitely come down for a look-see and help where we can.
The
Yeah.
true path to friends is never a long one.
Yes.
That's it.
True path to a friends is never a long
Oh,
one.
that's nice, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys, and thank you for giving up your time
Thank
for us
you.
as well.
Guys, thanks a lot.
Enjoy.
People. Ta-da!
If you liked this information we've just shared with you, you'll be sure to love the free Camel ebooks and training videos that we're giving away. We're giving away 2 Camel ebooks, Introduction to Camels and Introduction to Camel Training. Plus, in our bonus Camel training videos, we take you through training and handling camels built on connection and trust. And we also share how to understand a camel's way of thinking. This is gold information that you don't want to miss, so be sure to sign up now to get your free ebooks and training videos over at camelconnection.com.